Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Best in Slot, and tonight we're going to take another look at upcoming toys, figures, statues, dioramas, all this kind of stuff for the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World franchise. Some incredibly cool stuff that I want to show you guys tonight. And we're going to look at stuff from 3 different companies, and I'm going to credit a few people along the way, but of course we're going to sit here with our trusty little red brush, highlight some cool stuff, and just look at what is coming out for the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise. I really like seeing this kind of stuff get shown, because it means that even though, you know, it's a couple of years still until the next Jurassic World film, it's still a franchise that's being explored, that's being developed. We've got new dinosaurs sort of coming in through some of these toy lines, stuff that may make it into Jurassic World 3, we don't know yet. But it's just nice to see that it's not being forgotten yet, even if what they're not forgetting is to merchandise and to sell us stuff, basically. So let's get started anyway with our first group of items, which comes to us credit of twitter.com/collectjurassic and juraccicoutpost.com. Everything we're about to see is made by Mattel. Now, Mattel recently got an award for the quality of their Jurassic World action figures throughout 2018, because they had a really good line. I believe it was Hasbro who did the merchandising for Jurassic World, and then they moved to Mattel for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom stuff has been leaps and bounds above the Jurassic World stuff. It's been such a huge upgrade. I'm sure everyone agrees with that. Yeah, we had some really cool stuff like the giant Mosasaurus and stuff like that. I don't really collect toys like this personally, but I know for some of you this stuff will be pretty exciting, so let's have a little look. Starting with this little bad boy right here. I believe this does come from Jurassic Collect. This is Super Colossal, and then it randomly says Colossal for some reason. Super Colossal Blue. It is humongous. You can see it in comparison to the size of the person behind the box. I don't know where the tail is going in this situation, but Super Colossal Blue is absolutely colossal. You'll remember we've had a Colossal T-Rex already, and we had a very large Mosasaurus, and we've had a large Indominus Rex. Now we've got a big version of Blue, who is of course basically the titular star of Jurassic World. Not titular, just a star. Right, so that's Blue. We're not going to spend too long on these unless there's something super important to talk about. I know I have a tendency to prattle on. I'm trying to rein that in a little bit. Moving on, we have the Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex. Now this thing has some really, this is like one of the few toys I would ever consider buying. I'm not a toy kind of guy. I'm more of a statue kind of guy, but this thing is pretty cool. I'm going to bring up the description from Mattel for this guy, and there's one aspect in particular that I really like. This infamous large dinosaur wreaks havoc and fear. Ominous features include realistic slick scales, longer arms with dagger-like claws, and push-button activation. Push the button on its back to operate the mouth and activate sound effects. Rawr, for example. The button also makes Indominus' jaw open, activates sounds, pick up and swallow 3 to 4 inch, 3/4 inch human figures, and LED light in the throat lights up to show the human figures. That's the bit I like. Push the front button for arm strikes and slashing sound effects. So if we get rid of that image again, that means in the throat here, this bit will be a slightly thinner material, I'm sure, and basically there's an LED light in there, and that when you put something down its throat, this bit lights up so you can see, you know, as I say, it kills Chris Pratt. You'll be able to see Chris Pratt's body descend down the throat of the Indominus Rex. And that's not a sexual thing, that's just a cool thing. That is actually a really cool idea. Yes, it doesn't make too much sense unless the skin of the Indominus Rex is particularly thin there, but the idea of seeing the corpse travel down the throat, or while it's still alive if you got an animated one, I think that is a very cool feature. I really like that, which probably says a lot about me as well. It is worth noting as we go through these images, there's a couple more of the Rex itself. Destroy and Devour Rex, how you can see it up close. I will say the face it's lacking a little bit for me in terms of maybe texturing or colour. And obviously they've got some on the face, but I think the eyes in particular are just a little bit washed out, and the whole thing is a tiny bit washed out. The Indominus Rex is of course a very pale white creature, but there is some detailing and darkness in there as well. I think that's been neglected a little bit too much for my liking. I believe all these are images of the Rex. You can see it compared to the Colossal Rex there. It's huge, but you can kind of also see what I mean about the texture. They've clearly gone for this, I think it's a less hard material, like it's saying the slick scales compared to the Rex, but we'll have to see about that one. And there it is with the Concavenator. There are a ton of other Mattel stuff being released this year, including the Concavenator and stuff like that. Some really cool looking ones. I didn't want to highlight everything in this video because I am trying to whip things along a little bit faster than usual, shall we say. But also I want you guys to go onto Collect Jurassic. I want you guys to go onto JurassicOutpost.com, give them your patronage, and, you know, look at the other images. There's tons more Mattel stuff on there, and it's definitely worth checking out. Before we move off Mattel, however, it is worth looking at one more thing. This only got announced the other day, really recently. People are very excited about this, particularly given the scene in Fallen Kingdom. It is the Brachiosaurus and its hench. Look at those. It's been doing some. Whew, it's been working out, I'll put it that way. This thing is humongous. Look at the size of it. If that's a regular sort of inch long, I mean, it's massive. It really is absolutely goddamn massive. There's really not much to say. Compare it to the Triceratops, compare it to the little Alan Grant over here staring upwards. Colour scheme is, of course, it looks like it's straight out of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I'd say it's missing some of the warmer hues. It's still quite simplified in terms of colour. Again, this is not the kind of thing I would personally buy, but if I was a kid, or if I had a kid, or if I stole a kid, this is the kind of thing I would definitely be buying. You know, I would love to have this. Look, if you're going to have like a big display of Jurassic World toys and stuff, you want a centerpiece. And this thing, with that size and being such a beautiful creature, was of course in that very famous scene from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, irregardless of what I think personally of that scene. Yeah, it's a phenomenal, it's just huge. More than anything else, it's big. But that's the toys done. Now we're going to start looking at we're kind of going up in scale as we go through this video, as we move on to the second company. Now, I don't actually know what this company is called. They are a Asian company. I believe, you know, I'm not even going to pretend. But all the images come from Toy Panic. Now, Toy Panic don't make this. What they do is they take toys from around the world and they sell them. They've got tons of Jurassic Park stuff. Most of it's sold out now, but this is all pre-order stuff. None of this is out quite yet, I believe, but we're going to take a look at a few things, including the Indominus Rex, called the Berserker Rex, which is a little bit different. I don't know why it's called the Berserker Rex, but again, this is Asian, so of course there's been some translation going on there. Is Indominus Rex in Asia called the Berserker Rex? I don't know. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. But this actually really highlights what I was talking about just a minute ago. If we pull up that image of the, that's not the right image. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Yes, that is the right image. I'm a genius. Never mind. If you pull up the image of the Indominus Rex from before, you can see what I mean by. I mean, I think this Berserker Rex goes too far in the other direction with the colouring. It's too brown and grey and dark. It's not Indominus Rex coloured, really. It's definitely too dark compared to the one on the left. But you can see how it does have a lot more texturing and detail in it, despite being cheaper, I assume. These are actually surprisingly cheap, these, sorry, we'll get rid of that now. These are all surprisingly cheap. These ones we're going to look at here, these tiny Toy Panic ones, we'll talk about that at the end. I think like $50 to $60 on average. If we click through a couple of, no, not that one, click through a couple of images, it's a really nice looking model. It looks a little bit malnourished in some ways, a little bit dehydrated, I would say, but it's still pretty cool. You can get a nice sense of the scale there. There, I've got to say, it looks a lot better. If we compare that to that, it does have less of the brown hue. It's much more of a dark grey. Again, I would suggest it's too dark grey compared to the actual Indominus Rex, but it does look better than it looks there, where I think the lighting maybe is warming it up more than it should be. But it looks pretty. That's a pretty cool looking Indo right there to me. Got a little comparison image as well, which will show you what I mean, hopefully. You can definitely see how the one on the left has the warmer textures. The one on the right is actually quite dark, but I think that's partially the lighting. But the one on the left just has a slight... It's hard to really describe what I mean, but I hope it's showing that it's just a little bit tougher on the edges. It's a little bit more... honestly, it looks dehydrated more than anything else. The skin just seems tighter and drier than it does on the right. It's a little less chunky. It's a little less chubby. It's more... You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Anyway, so that is the Berserker Rex. Very exciting. But we have another one. We have the Velociraptor, which I didn't mean to cut out that bit. I don't know why I did that. We have the Velociraptor, which I think is actually better. I think it's probably an improvement. There's some weird stuff going on with the mouth bubbles. See, this is cheaper than the Berserker Rex, which we will call Indominus Rex. Is cheaper than the Indominus Rex, but it is also smaller. I will have a size comparison image coming up in a moment, but there's some decent images. There's some decent images taking a look at it. There's this weird mottling sort of going on top of the head. Was that there in the Indoraptor? I'm not so sure. It's also missing, now that I notice, it's missing the quills that the Indoraptor has sort of coming off it a little bit, which does emphasize that animalistic alien nature that the dinosaur has. I really like the Indoraptor design, but I'm less convinced on this for some reason. But we can see if we click here, there's a comparison with the Berserker Rex, which looks better every time I look at it. And together, I think they make a really cool combination. You can kind of see some similarities in the design, particularly along the spine and stuff like that, and in the face. You can see how the Indoraptor came from the Indominus Rex, which is pretty cool. But there's only one more toy line out for this line that I want to show you guys, and this is something we talked about on the channel quite a long time ago. In Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, in some of the concept art, originally there was a plan to have 2 Indoraptors. It didn't go very far, but it was storyboarded to have 2 Indoraptors, a black one and a white one. And Toy Panic are releasing a white Indoraptor, which, well, Berserkeraptor, I guess, which, I've got to be honest, I don't like it. I think their face looks really weird. Those sort of nodules where the eye is and the nodule here, I think they're just too deep into the head, and it gives it a very strange look. I also think it's lacking in colour. I would have made this portion here, that's sort of what is typically the orange bit, I would have made that a more standout colour, maybe like a deep burning orange or a deep red or something like that, just something to make it a little bit more interesting. If you're going to go completely non-canon like this, you may as well have some fun with it, in my opinion. But the interesting thing about this as well, this one, but not the Berserkeraptor, the black coloured one, but the white one, comes with what looks to be an Alan Grant for some reason. I don't really know why, and this is going to come up again in a moment, even weirder, trust me, but it does come with an Alan Grant, which is strange, I think we can admit. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with that one. I cannot figure out the justification. I'm unsure that any of these are officially branded, by the way, and there is no Jurassic World logo or Jurassic Park logo anywhere on any of these toys, and that may be why they're called Berserkeraptor and stuff like that. But if that is the case, they seem too close in design to avoid copyright issues in the first place, so we'll have to see what happens. Then again, people do this kind of stuff all the time and get away with it, so we'll see. Now, the next few images I'm going to show you when I learn to speak English are preview images of future toys coming from this line. There's not many of them. There's some interesting ones. So there's a really nice looking Carnotaurus. There's a, which, you know, looks great. And big little shout out to Jish on my Discord, which I will link down below as per usual. But Jish is the one who showed me all these images and stuff like that. So big shout out to Jish for that. There's a nice looking Carnotaurus there with the little tiny dangly arms. There's a really nice looking Spinosaurus. Apparently this is bigger than the Indominus Rex we saw earlier. Now the Indominus Rex we saw earlier required 2 hands and was still longer than a person's body, sort of across the chest. So this is a big toy. This is like a near arm span size toy, if that is the case. That is going to be a large Spinosaurus, which I'm really excited to see. But the most exciting one for all of you who watch my Jurassic World Evolution videos is this. It's a Sinoceratops, and it is gorgeous. It's my big, chubby, horny, rhino, hippo looking dinosaur. I absolutely adore this. I do not buy toys in general or statues or anything because I live in a box in London. I have no room at all. If this is released and it looks good, I will be buying it. There is just no way I'm not. And the Sinoceratops is extra weird though, and awesome, because it comes with this, right? Look at it, it's squaring down some little guy. It does actually also appear, by the way. Now, I don't think any of these are posable, but the head there does look tilted down, doesn't it? So maybe, because these are all preview images, these are designs for the future, maybe it just hasn't had the final pose solidified yet. I've got to say I prefer that pose to that pose anyway, so hopefully this is what we get. And it's pointing down and threatening somebody on the floor, which logically you'd think would maybe be Owen Grady, right, from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, of course, because he has a scene with the Sinoceratops. It doesn't necessarily threaten him like this, but it does interact with him. It doesn't really interact with anyone else. But, you'd be wrong, because, it's Dennis Nedry. Why? I don't understand. I really don't understand. Why is it Dennis Nedry? Why was it, Alan Grant before? Why is it Dennis Nedry now? This is even weirder. It is clearly Dennis Nedry. He's got a raincoat on, he's got the glasses, he's got the short hair, he's a big dude, you know. It's Dennis Nedry getting attacked by... I don't know the justification, but it's very cool. Right, very quickly now for the final 3 things. These all come from prime1studio.com. We've highlighted their work before. These are expensive. Let's get that one out of the way right now. We're talking several $100s, probably over the $500, $600, $700 mark in the end. These are the same company who did the Indoraptor on the lit up roof thing, and we showed that in the past, and that was incredible. It really was. I'm still tempted to buy it on like a 10-month plan and pay like 50 quid a month and get hold of it because it looks so good. They do fantastic stuff, and this is all, and again, courtesy to twitter.com/clickedjurassic for one of these images, or two of these images, I believe. But they've been posting on Twitter from their toy show, showing some of their upcoming stuff. So we're going to look at that right now. First of all, we have a beautiful Brachiosaurus. And this kind of shows the difference between this and the Mattel one. This looks more to me like the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom one. It's got the darker skin on top and the warmer tones on the underbelly. That looks more like the one we saw crossing over in front of the Innovation Center. And it's freaking amazing looking. There's not much to say about it though, it's just Brachiosaurus. We also have the Indominus Rex, which just, look at it! Look how good it is! It's taken down the Ankylosaurus, of course, from the film. I will say that I think it's slightly out of scale. The Ankylosaurus seems to be too small compared to the Indominus Rex. Not by much, but it is slightly out of scale. But damn, that's a cool looking Indominus Rex, and that is how you make something white and sort of light grey, but textured and interesting and detailed, and that is movie accurate. It really is. That is the best looking Indominus Rex you are ever going to own, I think, in my opinion. I really, really like the look of that one. But the real star here is in the background, ladies and gentlemen. The Spinosaurus. This is the image from Collect Jurassic, I believe, but this is, of course, the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus standing over the plane. We can bring up one more great image here. There it is. Look at that absolute beautiful beast. It makes me so happy. I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Jurassic Park 3, but I think most of us over time have come to accept that, at least design-wise, the Spinosaurus is really, really, really nice. It may not look like an actual Spinosaurus, but as a Jurassic Park dinosaur, it looks absolutely fantastic, and this one is the king, and I'm so tempted. I have no money at all, but I'm still tempted. It looks amazing. We've got this base with the kind of the bone detailing, just like the doors from the Jurassic Park Visitor Center. Of course, we've got the plane that Alan Grant and co all arrive on, snapped in half. This, I will say, the plane is way underscaled compared to the Spinosaurus. Now, of course, that is just because it's there to... The Spinosaurus is the star, but the plane is there to add more detail onto the base and just make it more interesting, and I totally appreciate that, but it is definitely too small in comparison to the Spinosaurus. I don't think that's a problem you could fix without making the whole thing even bigger, but it's just worth noting. But oddly enough, other than the Spinosaurus itself, the thing I really like is this. There's this huge area of just foliage and brush, and it just really gives it this middle of the jungle kind of feel. We've got like a little watery lake down here. I remember making this kind of stuff all the time. I used to do Warhammer and Warhammer 40k and Lord of the Rings, you know, a little tabletop battling game, and you used to use this, we used to use glue, actually, is what we mainly used to make like lakes and ponds and stuff on our battle maps. It looks exactly like that. It's just a resin of some form. It's just, it's incredible. It really is. Now, like I say, these will cost a lot. We're talking £500-600, $900, something like that, particularly for the Spinosaurus, which by the looks of it will be the most expensive. But if you are loaded and you've got a really nice place to display this, these are probably the best Jurassic Park pieces of merchandise you can buy on the planet. I would go that far. This is the Prime 1 Studio, battling a little bit with Chronicle Collectibles, are probably the two companies that make the best stuff in the world for Jurassic Park, and I want that Spinosaurus so much. Oh, look at it. Right, no, if I don't go, I'll just look at it all day. They did also have some other stuff, but it wasn't properly revealed. I don't think I've got the images. I think there was a Rex knocking about, but we didn't really get a good image of it. Anyways, that's it, folks. I did try to keep this short, but then I see really exciting stuff and I ramble. I'm very sorry. But, you know, it's nice to bring back the red brush for those of you who enjoy it. And if you don't, then I'm very sorry that you're here 19 minutes into a video for some reason. But thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you lovely folks in the next episode. If you did enjoy this look at the upcoming toys of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, then please do hit that like button. I'm going to try to get hold of some of the new Mattel stuff when it releases throughout this year, and then I'll do actual hands-on reviews for the first time in a long time, so keep an eye out for that. And if you know of any coming out in the UK and stuff, do hit me up and I'll be able to do that a little bit easier. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for joining me. Cheers, much love, as always. Bye-bye. A little shout out at the end. This video and others like it would not be possible at all without the support of you guys watching me at home, and also everyone on this Patreon page right here who supported me in the last month. If you want to help out as well, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. Every little really helps. Cheers.